traveller, the story so far. Our adventurers started off their journey in a backwater planet boarding an Esperanto Queen freighter, a dilapidated old space freighter going anywhere but here. A mayday call forces our team into a mission to recover the free trader Beowulf, and soon on this journey they see a mystery ahead. A huge spacefaring asteroid with drive motors chiseled into its sides and its back, with other structures pointing in all different directions from its superstructure. A forced landing of the ship's boat comes off with some damage. However, it doesn't seem to be too much, but it could prove to be troublesome later. Whilst the team are there, they're going to investigate. So, they split into two. One team goes off to the rear of the asteroid. What it does is try to find a way in so they can find the drive room of this thing, where the engines are. The other team heads off to where the tethered ships are, one of them being the Beowulf. The team that's at the drive room area finds a doorway which they can manage to get through, and then start to see a huge array of different types of engineering and mechanical pieces that must make up the drive of this thing. They also find the crew. The crew seems to be made up of robotic creatures, which stay dormant until required. When one of the team tries to change one of the settings on the engine, one of the crew, a small spider-like robot, runs down, tries to get in the way, and a little bit of damage is taken by the crew member. At this point, everybody decides that discretion is the better part of valor, and tries to get out of there. But it's also clear that whatever has happened has caused the engines to go into drive mode, and the whole place shaking, sirens going off, and other robotic crew members of the asteroid running around like frightened insects. It's clear that something is about to happen. It's decided that they will take the ship's boat and the Beowulf. But, in trying to do this, gravity imbalance and a lack of power on the part of the ship's boat means that the boat will not break free. A choice was clear: half the team gets away, or all the team stays. They decided that all the teams would stay, and they made their way back to the asteroid deck. When they got there, there was hardly any time to secure themselves, as the asteroid jumped away. When the dust settled, they started to receive a distress call from inside the asteroid itself, leading to the discovery of an artificial life form called Sam that was there to control the asteroid and its mission to collect different types of artifacts from all around the galaxies. But Sam could not control anything, for the robots that Sam had to control were all tied up in a strange situation with one of the ships that they brought in. And this was 100 years ago? How could that be? This was confirmed with the discovery of another crew. They'd been here for so long, they hadn't even remembered when it was that they got here. They knew, however, that time was repeating itself on a loop, approximately every 12 hours. Talking to Sam, it was obvious that one of the tethered ships was causing this anomaly. The crew elected to try and help. So, they took themselves over to one of these ships, and they saw a small ship tethered to the remains of a much larger ship. When they got close to it, they could see that this ship, this small ship that was tethered, was not a real ship. It was more like an X-boat, like a small ship's boat. There was no obvious drive. There was no obvious maneuver drive. When they got to it, they opened up the door, and what they saw was one of the strangest things any of them had ever seen. It was just a row of different tables and chairs. There was a drive mechanism at the rear. There was some sort of crew mechanism at the front. Inside that front part of the ship, where the drive controls were, there were stacks of robots, all of them with no more power left, apart from a couple that were doing their very best to stay on their legs. The situation was that this ship had some type of experimental time drive, and nobody understands how it worked, but essentially what was happening was that every 12 hours, this time drive was resetting time at a localized area around the asteroid. Why was it there? Well, it was for gruesome purposes. You see, the ship was a penal colony ship. It was a ship to hold prisoners and to punish them for eternity. This 12 hours would be set, and then what would happen would be that the prisoners inside the ship would essentially reappear and live their 12 hours, knowing there would be another and another and another 12 hours as it went on and on and on and on forever. This drove them crazy. They broke free of their bonds every time and tried to kill each other, eat each other, tear each other apart. The robots, in trying to understand what was going on, had been destroying and putting these people down, causing this endless loop of carnage. Our adventurers managed to understand at least how to switch off the time drive, causing the loop to stop. This had the effect, unfortunately, of the asteroid going straight into jump to get away from here. It was the only logical thing for Sam to think of and do. The crew managed to get back to the Beowulf and set it on a new course, but it was too quick, and unfortunately the navigation systems of the Beowulf were not set up correctly yet, and the ship just blindly jumped. On board there was still one of the main robots. It had no time to escape, and so the ship jumped. When everybody woke up, navigation systems indicated that they were now in close proximity to ROUP, a amber zone area in part of the Regina subsector. How did it get there? That was over 20 parsecs away. And that's where we start our next adventure. We have a ship. Nobody knows who owns it. We have a crew. But they have no money. They have no identification. It seems as if everything has been left behind. They have a robot that, in many respects, is highly technological, is highly advanced, but could it have ulterior motives? They also have something else on board. A box, a large casket, which is, at the moment, unable to be opened. So as they fly down to ROUP's space station, what's next for them?